Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we're talking about the state of Washington today because we got our final ballot measure, and it really has to do specifically with investment and care funds. So, we're going to go ahead and read this ballot measure. We just have one ballot measure, not 16, not 17, which is good. So, let's get into it. So, it says, allow the state's long-term services and supports trust fund to invest in stocks and other equities. So, judging and looking at the map, it looks pretty ideological, right? It looks pretty partisan. You're seeing, yes, mainly aligned with more liberal counties, more Democrat counties, and you're seeing more no votes aligned with more conservative and Republican counties. So, obviously, judging by the ballot measure, I'm guessing this is 100% political and more of a partisan divide, but basically breaking the ballot measure down. So it's allowing the state's long-term services to support trust fund to invest in the stocks and other equities. Obviously, this would have to do mostly with, I would imagine, spending, okay? And I just looked at the endorsements, and we got quite a lot. We got actually more of a divided field, obviously, however. This is more of a liberal view here. We do have a Republican, Dwayne Davidson. He's definitely, I would assume, he is more of a rhino. He definitely looks like a rhino to me, but he came out and supported this ballot measure. This ballot measure is 70% reporting. Now, obviously, it's important to know that this isn't, I would assume this is not the permanent result. I'm looking at Walla Walla County. It's very, very, very close, okay? Very close, very tight. 50.1 leading, as of right now, to 49.9% here. And is it possible that this county can flip to the no? Very well, very possible, but it is unusually very tight in a conservative county. That isn't really a Republican struggle, but it is pretty conservative. Spokane County, 51% to 49%. This county's pretty much done counting. Spokane, then again, a big city in western Spokane is a big city in eastern Washington, probably the biggest city in eastern Washington. And I would say it's liberal, more liberal, but the county overall is pretty Republican. Spokane County being more conservative. Yeah, I would say this county's done counting. This county, not yet. Walla Walla County is still counting. We still have some vote. As of right now, we got 50.1% approved, 49.9% approved. It's not really, you can't necessarily say it's going to stay in the yes column. But as of right now, it's staying in the yes column. It's possible. It definitely is very possible. And it's not like that conservatives don't support this ballot measure. You already have a Republican saying yes, but we don't really know the political leniencies. You do have Planned Parenthood also endorsing this. National Organization for Women Seattle. So I would like to learn more about this ballot measure, actually, because maybe it's just me personally. I'm not getting much of a description with just one sentence, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and look, because it looks pretty political. When you have Planned Parenthood and all these feminist organizations getting involved, it's pretty political in the long run. So I'm going to go ahead, paste this, go to Ballotpedia, and basically get a description and see the arguments ultimately. So basically, A yes vote supported allowing the long-term services and supports the LTSS trust fund to be invested in stocks and other equities. A no vote opposed the constitutional amendment, maintaining the LTSS trust fund investments can only be invested in fixed income securities such as bonds and certificates of deposit. I want to know the arguments, though. Yeah, you have all these Democrats coming out, support. You got two Republicans, Keith Wagner, Judith yeah, you do have a couple Republicans coming out. Unions, organizations, arguments. This is for the yes. So, I want to hear their arguments. So Gary Brobaker, the former chief investment officer at the Washington State Investment Board, says a well-managed public fund can return annual investment rates of 6%, 7%, or even more than 8%, depending on the asset allocation, thereby increasing payouts for beneficiaries and saving taxpayers billions every year. So this is more of a fiscal issue I'm looking at, more of a fiscal ballot measure, more left-leaning fiscal ballot measure for sure. In fact, 75% of payouts from Washington's defined benefit plans come from investment returns over the life of the employee. Public benefits plans would not be sustainable or would require very high contribution rates if the fund reserves were restricted to the government bonds and treasury bills. But that's the situation with Washington State's new long-term care trust fund, which is currently hampered by a century-old constitutional prohibition on investing state funds in modern-day diversified portfolio. So it has to do, I'm seeing to notice, with more of an equity gap when it comes to this. So this is probably why you're seeing a lot of left-leaning organizations like Planned Parenthood, the League of Women Voters. They're coming out and they're endorsing this. You also have Justin Gill, president of the Washington State Nurses Association, says nurses support 8201 because when our patients are disabled, suffer from dementia, or just aging, they need a reliable, guaranteed fund for their long-term care needs. Approve 8201. 8201 requires 100% of investment income earned by Washington State's long-term care trust fund by spent on long-term care services by vulnerable seniors and disabled people. Washingtonians want to live with dignity as they agree. 8201 supports their shared goal, strengthening the benefits trust fund to help seniors and disabled Washingtonians while protecting taxpayers. Now, these obviously are the supporters. But I want to know the opposition. So the opposition says, State Representative Peter Alberto, a Republican from District 20 in the state legislature, says there is a big difference between a private individual who diversifies their portfolio versus a public official who invests someone else's money before knowing what the benefits will cost and what the exact design of the program will be. You have to be much more cautious when you have a fiduciary responsibility. State Representative Joe Schmidt says, once we blur the line between voluntary investment and mandatory taxation, what stops the legislature from doing the same with our payroll deduction programs in the future? What stops lawmakers from deciding that any public fund could be enhanced by exposure to the market? Today is long-term care. Tomorrow, it could be unemployment insurance, paid family leave, or even the state's general fund. So this is definitely a fiscal issue, definitely more of a left-leaning fiscal issue. Then again, involves the government, of course, because the Democrats love the government. They want the government to come and rescue them because they're, the government, long-term care provider, And you have simply, obviously, when it comes to counties that back this ballot measure, King County's leading it all the way, 71% in support of this ballot measure. Obviously, it's where Seattle is. And county leading against it is the county of Stevens, which I would assume is more in the east. Stevens, right here. Stevens County, pretty conservative, a Republican stronghold. So definitely this is an ideologically divided map. And it looks, even though, actually, okay, Wikipedia is saying we're 95% in. How many votes are remaining? Just a little bit. I would say they're coming from a little bit coming from Walla Walla. You just have like 93% in. So there's barely, I would say, I mean, 6,334 to 6,372. Very possible that the last few are rejection votes, but it's also possible that there are approved votes. I don't really know. You just have to look in the precincts over there. But most of them are counted. You just have a lot of the remaining votes in Walla Walla County. This is outdated. This needs to be fixed. But I would go and expect a map looking like this, or try to envision a map with Walla Walla County being green. That's probably what the map is likely going to look like. But anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.